Good morning, Anushka, Sahil, Vedant, Sakshi. Good morning. Please stay connected. Let's say there might be a net issue, but I'll try to teach you as far as possible. So dear students, a quick recap before we start today's lesson, a quick recap. So see what happens, I'll just recap quickly. What happened, first of all, the soldiers were, this American prisoner of war was identified and then he was brought to Sadao's residence. Okay, so before that we have found Hana and Mr. Sadao, Dr. Sadao was able to establish the identity of the American prisoner of war. Okay, was able to establish the identity of the American prisoner of war. And then there was some initial hiccups. Why? Because it was risky to sort of harbor or give shelter to the American prisoner of war, because if the government comes to know about it, then both of them might be arrested. Therefore, there was some hesitation in bringing the prisoner back to the house of, or back to the house of Dr. Sadao. So Sadao, and then see, this is established here. Sadao packed the wound with the sea moss. The man moaned but did not wake. Sadao told Hana that the best thing would be to put him back into the sea. Hana replied in the affirmative. Hana agreed with him. And then Sadao added that they sheltered a white man in their house, they would be arrested, and if they turned him over as a prisoner, he would certainly die. So this was the conflict both husband and wife here, Dr. Sadao and Hana, was suffering from. What was the conflict? If the white man was sheltered in their house, then they would be arrested, and if they hand the American prisoner of war to the authority, in that case what will happen, dear students? In that case then he would certainly die. Okay, so therefore it is very much important to first cure him, to recover him, make him back to the senses, and give him some initial treatment, and whenever the man feels well, only in that case he should be handed over to the Am I audible, dear students? Am I audible? Okay. So Dhanasri, thank you so much for your confirmation. So let us begin. Okay, so when Dr. Sadao and his wife Hana decided to bring American prisoner of war at home, what happened, they were very much worried about the servants, okay, because servants might report it to the neighborhood, or they might report it to the administration, or they might leak the information. Therefore they were a bit hesitant about the servants now. Let's find out what happens after that. We must simply tell them that we intend to give him to the police, as indeed we must. Sadao tells his wife Hannah that we shall communicate to the servants that we shall hand over the prisoner of war after he is back to normalcy. Okay, we shall certainly report him, we shall hand him over to the police. So this is what they decided, both Sadao and Hannah. We must think of the children and your position. We must think of the children and your position. It would endanger all of us if we did not give this man over as a prisoner of war. So they are very much anxious about the fact that they are housing an American prisoner of war. Therefore they said that if we do not hand him over to the police once he is recovered, then it would make us, it would endanger us, it would make us prone to danger, okay, because we might be arrested by the police. Okay, therefore it is important for us to hand him over as a prisoner of war. Certainly Sadao agreed. I would not think of doing anything else. Okay, Sadao agreed and said that I would not do anything else except handing him over to the police. Okay, after he is recovered. Okay, so it seems to be buffering once again. Dhanasri, if I am audible to you, can you kindly confirm whether it's buffering? Dhanasri, can you please confirm whether it is buffering? Okay, so let's continue for some time more. Certainly Sadao agreed. I would not think of doing anything else. Sadao now agrees with his wife Hannah to hand the prisoner of war back to the Japanese authorities once he is recovered. Okay, once Dr. Sadao nurses the American prisoner of war back to recovery stage, they have decided to hand him over to the Japanese authority. Okay, therefore on this condition they have brought the prisoner of war to their house, and they have also decided that they will also communicate the same thing to the servants. Okay, because they are initially worried about the servants. They might react vehemently because he is a white man. Therefore they, Hannah and Dr. Sadao have decided to also communicate to the servants that they would certainly hand over the prisoner of war, okay, to the Japanese authorities once he is recovered. Okay. Okay, so thus agreed, together they lifted the man. He was very light, like a fowl that had been half starved for a long time until it is only feathers and skeleton. Fowl F-O-W-L, fowl means a hen or a cock. Okay, you can see domestic cock or hen is called fowl. Okay, so the American prisoner of war was very light. He was as light as a domestic cock or a hen, which was half starved for a long time. Okay, therefore it was not so difficult for them to carry him. So his arms hanging, they carried him up the steps and into the side door of the house. This door opened into a passage, and down the passage they carried the man towards an empty bedroom. Okay, now they have carried the American prisoner of war into an empty bedroom. It had been the bedroom of Sadao's father, and since his death it had not been used. Okay, since the death of his father it had not been used. Understood? So the American prisoner of war has been housed in the bedroom of Dr. Sadao's father. Okay, so yes, then you see, and since his death it had not been used. The room had not been used since his death. Therefore, American prisoner of war has been sheltered in the room of Dr. Sadao's father. Okay, now let's find out. This door opened into a passage, and down the passage they carried the man towards an empty bedroom. It had been the bedroom of Sadao's father, and since his death it had not been used. They laid the man on the deeply matted floor. Everything here had been Japanese to please the old man, who would never in his own home sit on a chair or sleep in a foreign bed. Okay, Japanese father was a real patriotic man. Okay, in spirit. He did not use any foreign things, okay, any imported things in his house. Okay, everything that you can see around in his room was made of Japan. Okay, he was very much patriotic. Therefore, he used only Japanese homemade products. Okay, for the decoration of his room. Okay, so everything you will find being strewn over, which were Japanese. Hana went to the wall cupboards and slid back a door and took out a soft quilt. She hesitated. The quilt was covered with flowered silk and lining. The lining was pure white silk. Okay, for a body covering, quilt means a body covering. So a body covering was found out. Quilt was taken out of the room. Okay, and now the prisoner of war okay, will be kept over the quilt. He is so dirty, she murmured in distress. She said, he is so dirty, we need to wash him first. Yes, he had better be washed, Sadao agreed. If you will fetch hot water, I will wash him. Okay, if you bring hot water, then I will wash him. Hopefully buffering is less, dear students, now. Okay, anyway, so Sadao considered a moment. She said, if you will fetch hot water, I will wash him. Okay, so Sadao now Sadao said, first Hana said he is so dirty, and then Sadao said yes, he had better be washed. Sadao agreed. Sadao told his wife, you bring hot water, then I will wash him. I cannot bear for you to touch him, she said. We shall have to tell the servants he is here. I will tell Yumi. Now she can leave the children for a few minutes and she can wash him. Okay. Now Hana said, I will go and contact our maid, that is Yumi. I will tell her to leave the baby aside for some time and wash the white man. Sadao considered a moment. Let it be so, he agreed. You tell Yumi and I will tell the others. Okay, you break the news of the arrival of the American prisoner, and you tell Yumi and I shall tell the other people in the house. but the utter pallor of the man's unconscious face moved him first to stoop and feel his pulse. Okay. So what happened? Utter pallor of the man's unconscious face. Pallor means the pale appearance of the face of the white man. So utter pallor of the man's unconscious face moved him first to stoop and feel his pulse. Okay, stoop means to bend forward and feel his pulse. Because the American prisoner of war was so much weak, okay, that his face has become pale. Therefore, Saddam wanted to first stoop and feel his pulse, whether it is normal or there is something wrong with the pulse. It was faint, but it was there. Pulse was faint, but it was there. He put his hand against the man's cold breast. The heart too was yet alive. He will die unless he is operated on, Saddam said. Saddam said he will certainly die, okay, unless he is operated. The question is whether he will not die anyway. Okay. The question is whether he will not die anyway. He needs to operate on the patient immediately, on the American prisoner of war, otherwise he will certainly die. Hannah cried out in fear, "Don't try to save him. What if he should live? Don't save him. I am very much scared. Government might catch us. We might be arrested. Don't try to save him. What if he should live? If he lives, then he might be a threat for us. What if he should die?" Saddam replied. What will happen if he dies? Okay. He stood gazing down on the motionless man because he is not moving. American prisoner of war is not moving. This man must have extraordinary vitality or he would have been dead by now. Okay, vitality means strength, dear students. Okay, this man, that is American prisoner of war, must have extraordinary energy in him, otherwise he would have died by now. But then he was very young also, perhaps not yet 25. Okay, therefore he has lot of vitality in him, and because of this vitality or energy, he is still alive. You mean die from the operation? Hannah asked. Yes, Saddam said. Okay, otherwise he would have died. Okay, Hannah considered this doubtfully, and when she did not answer, Saddam turned away. At any rate, something must be done with him, he said. Okay, he said we must do something for him, and he must be first washed. Or unless and until he is washed, we cannot start the treatment. He went quickly out of the room, and Hannah came behind him. She did not wish to be left alone with the white man. He was the first she had seen since she left America, and now he seemed to have nothing to do with those whom she had known there. Okay, here he was her enemy, a menace, a living or dead. Okay, so as soon as Saddam came out of his room, Hannah followed him. Okay, Hannah did not wish to be left out with the American soldier in the room, and she does not have any contact with any Americans since she left America. Okay, and then she had since then she had known nothing, no American since that time. Okay, since she left America. And moreover, the prisoner of war, okay, was her enemy, a menace. Menace matlab threat, living or dead. Okay, so an American is the enemy of the Japanese. Okay, doesn't matter whether living or dead, enemy is an enemy. She turned to the nursery and called Yumi. Okay, dear students, nursery here refers to a room in a house for the special use of young children. Okay, a room where young children are taken care of. Okay, so she turned to the nursery and called him Yumi, but the children heard her voice and she had to go in for a moment and smile at them and play with the baby boy, now nearly 3 months old. Okay, so Yumi is called, Hannah has called out Yumi. The children heard her voice. Okay, and she had to go to the children. Okay, and play with the baby boy who is nearly 3 months old now. Over the baby's soft black hair, she motioned with her mouth, Yumi, come with me. Okay, because Yumi was attending the child. Okay, therefore Yumi with her gesture, and then she asked Yumi to come. I will put the baby to bed, Yumi replied. He is ready. I will put the baby to bed, Yumi replied. He is ready. She went with Yumi into the bedroom next to the nursery and stood with the boy in her arms while Yumi spread the sleeping quilts on the floor and laid the baby between them. Okay. Then Hannah led the way quickly and softly to the kitchen. The two servants were frightened at what their master had just told them. The old gardener, who was also a house servant, pulled the few hairs on his upper lip because they cannot believe that Dr. Sadao has housed an American prisoner of war. Okay, therefore they were so frightened. They were so surprised and frightened, okay, at what their master, that is Dr. Sadao, had just told them. They cannot believe their ears that Dr. Sadao can harbor an enemy prisoner of war to their house. The master ought not to heal the wound of this white man, he said bluntly to Hannah. Okay, gardener, the old gardener of the house, he said, master should not heal the wound of this white man. Okay, why? Because the white man is our enemy. That is why. What white man is our enemy. That is why master should not heal the wound of this white man. Good morning, Aman. Good morning. Today we've got some initially for a few minutes we had net connectivity issue, so now it's okay. That is why I'm continuing. Okay, please stay connected, all of you. Okay, first he was shot, then the sea caught him and wounded him with her rocks. Okay, wounded her with him with her rocks. If the master heals what the gun did and what the sea did, they will take revenge on us. Okay, do you understand the meaning of this? What's the gardener said, the old gardener said, nature gave him punishment. Okay, in the form of first the gun wounded him. Okay, sea caught him and wounded him with her rocks. Okay, first he was shot, then the nature punished him. Okay, how did nature punish the American prisoner of war? The sea caught him and wounded him with the rocks. Understood? This is how nature punished him. If the master heals what the gun did and what the sea did, they will take revenge on us. Understood? So, if the master, that is, if Dr. Sadao heals the wound, okay, which was made by the gun and the sea, then nature will go against us. Nature will take revenge on us. Therefore, our master, Dr. Sadao, is not supposed to heal the wound of the American prisoner of war. This is the opinion of the old gardener. I will tell him what you say. Hannah replied courteously. Okay, Hannah replied courteously to the gardener. I shall certainly communicate the message of yours to him. But she herself was also frightened, although she was not superstitious as the old man was. Could it ever be well to help an enemy? It's not well to help an enemy. It's not good to help an enemy. Okay. Nevertheless, she told Yumi to fetch the hot water and bring it to the room where the white man was. So Hannah instructed Yumi, okay, to fetch the hot water and fetch the hot water to the room where the white man was kept. She went ahead and slid back the partitions. Sadao was not yet there. Yumi, following, put down her wooden bucket. Then she went over to the white man. When she saw him, her thick lips folded themselves into stubbornness. She became very much resolute on seeing the face of the white man. Yumi reacted immediately. How did she react? Yumi reacted by saying, I have never washed a white man, and I will not wash so dirty a one now. As I have never washed a white man, I shall not wash so dirty a white man, okay, so dirty a person now. Hannah cried at her severely. Hannah cried and said, you will do what your master commands you. Okay. Hannah became absolutely angry with Yumi and she cried out at her, saying, "You will do what your master commands you." There was so fierce a look of resistance upon Naomi's round dull face that Hannah felt unreasonably afraid. Okay, Hannah felt unreasonably afraid of the way Naomi reacted. Okay, there was such a fierce look of resistance at the face of Naomi that Hannah herself felt unreasonably afraid. After all, if the servant should report something that was not as it happened, okay, after all, if the servants reported, okay, to the authorities what is happening in their house, in that case what will happen? They might be arrested. So this kind of underlying fear was there in the mind of Hannah. Understood? That is why Hannah was scared. Hannah was scared of this. Okay, Hannah was scared of the reaction of Naomi. Very well, she said, with dignity. Very well, she said, with dignity. You understand, we only want to bring him to his senses so that we can turn him over as a prisoner. हेलो सर, हेलो, हाँ बोलिए ना। मैं इधर क्लासरूम में हूँ एक्चुअली, अभी क्लास चल रहा है, थोड़ा डिस्टर्ब हो रहा है क्लास में। बोलिए ना। है, हाँ हाँ, ठीक है सर, आई विल सी आफ्टर सम टाइम। हाँ ठीक है, ओके। So